Hello everyone, it's been a little while. Today I'm walking us through the first steps I took to start drawing again. Spoiler alert, it's rough and messy, and in the end I didn't like anything I created today. Though I did color correct and smooth it into an aesthetic viewing experience, just know it's been hard to pull myself into the waves again. So what is this series all about? First of all, watch my trailer and come back. Second of all, I'm currently struggling through a big burnout period. I decided to ask around for help and got a few tips to push me back into drawing again. I'll be documenting my experiments in a series of videos that you will watch and love so much that you'll thumbs up and comment on it and share it with all your friends. Just kidding, but I am making the videos. Also, a word of advice is to not take anything I say in this video too seriously because I'm just a girl with some thoughts based on my own experiences and ruminations. Reference books are your friend, as it turns out, but my collection is still pretty meager at the moment. I picked up this vintage copy of Shrubs in Color that seemed like a good jumping off point to get my brain running. An artist friend of mine advised that I start small and basic and then threw a curveball of a psychoanalysis that stated how I think good art and creativity has to manifest in a big, impressive way or it doesn't live up to my lofty expectations. Good one, and I can't say a word because it's definitely true. As you can see, I got tired of copying this dainty flower, and another piece of advice I was given was to not plan anything in advance and simply to experiment. Experimenting is hard, as it turns out. I'm mostly trying to let the shapes lead me to the next steps here, and releasing control is definitely harder than I had anticipated. There's an expectation for artwork to be aesthetic because that is what gets rewarded. I was told the easiest way to switch things up was by trying new supplies. Great, that's exactly what I'm doing here. I was sent some new things to try, but rest assured, all thoughts are my own because nobody wants to sponsor me right now due to my intimidating swag. So here's a little review segment to fling us back into the material world before we get too existential up in here. But before you go and buy new supplies, make sure you will actually use them and try to buy them from local art shops. I'll be sharing any extra supplies I receive with my friends or donating them to schools. Okay, mindful consumption soapbox speech is done. ArtX sent me the pastel markers you saw me using in the beginning. They're nice for light shading, though I am a much bigger user of bold colors nowadays. I love that it comes in a pouch for storage and that there are multiple shades for each color. Paul Rubens sent me the neon paints and they are right up my alley. I was so pleased with the color turnout on them. And Etcher sent me this watercolor sketchbook. The paper was able to hold all the supplies I threw at it, and I loved customizing the blank cover. However, it was a bit small for my taste, but I think I'm just straining against small sketchbook sizes recently. Thank you to everyone who sent me art supplies. I'm really grateful for a chance to review these products and try them out. I will be honest, I don't particularly like this video because I don't particularly like the art that I made in here. But you know what? We need to see that art can suck but still be good. Good because at least you're getting pen to paper, and good because you're taking steps forward. Because it's tiring to live under the expectation that art has to be done in a certain way or look a certain way to be deemed quote unquote good. I think that's what held me back from drawing for so long. I wanted to produce something groundbreaking and ended up paralyzed with the weight of that. But okay, sure, I can definitely concede I'm not going to use a sketchbook spread where I made paint fly with a hairdryer in my portfolio or something. But art at its core isn't about its ability to be a stepping stone for the next big thing. I want to remind myself when I make a piece of art, it's not supposed to be about it hitting its algorithmic peak on some social media platform that could probably disappear tomorrow. Making art is not solely about its ability to get you something. The art you make can achieve all sorts of accolades, and it should, but the singular purpose of creation should not begin and end with reward. Having said this, there is not a singular purpose for creation. When an artist is creating their art for some kind of external outlet like freelancers do, it's a job. That motivation begins and ends with a reward, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Actually, I'm hoping to have a creative job myself one day. But these kinds of careers often lead to burnout or art block because you're making creativity and pulling it from yourself on command. I think a balance needs to be struck between making art to revel in the process and making art for consumption. These two ideas can coexist and flow into each other. Art can be both for yourself and for the public eye, but the question is initial intent, and that's what really matters to you as the creator. Art can be a gift or a way to heal, and I think we should remember that, but it can also be a crux, a collar which constricts you. Taking care of your creative health is crucial to preventing burnout. I'm still figuring out how to do that. I'm not going to sit here on my toilet because my bathroom is my recording studio and tell you how because I don't really know, which is why I'm in this situation, which is why we're making this series. What about our creative health? How do we enrich ourselves in a way that's not simply going to museums and looking at art books? I'm not saying these inspiration drivers aren't doing anything, but how do we return to the feeling of making art when we were 5? Physical health we know about. The eating of the fibers and the vitamins and the fruits and the getting the sun and the stretching and the sleeping. Mental health is vital to wellness too. Working through my mind has been a challenging progression, but I'm already seeing the benefits from it. hope you enjoyed that bit of ASMR. I guess this whole video is kind of ASMR or like calming. Anyway, I figured I had better throw in my typical fashion illustrations with a twist of doing line art last. Honestly, this is the one drawing that I kind of loved. I like the freeness of throwing down shapes and colors without really caring about it too much. But you know, it's difficult to throw shapes or colors down and proclaim, I don't care how this turns out, but I think it's important that we do say, I don't care how this turns out sometimes. Let's make the art that isn't fit for consumption. That is proof of us growing as artists. We shouldn't be held back from absolutely decimating our sketchbooks because it might not look good. And not all the time. There is nothing wrong with wanting to create good-looking art for yourself. You know I am a proponent for the aesthetic. But when the pressure gets too bad and the paper stays blank for days, then weeks, then months, I say fill it with something terrible rather than not fill it at all. How else will we improve? Woo! Anyway, I think we've got enough food for thought. Now it's time for something lighter, which is that I've gotten into High School Musical again, which I don't distinctly remember watching, but I know the plot and all the songs somehow, and it feels overwhelmingly nostalgic, so I think I must have watched it in my childhood. Also, I think Sharpay deserved better, in case you were wondering. Also, shows I've been enjoying recently. First one is The Bear, which is the telling of a story of a classically trained chef who has to return to Chicago to run the family restaurant. 100% recommend, so funny, and the characters have like such strong personalities, so I really love it. Also, I rewatched Hacks season 1 and 2, which I also recommend. That show examines like a chaotic relationship between a stand-up comic and her writer, which is honestly iconic. What else? It's kind of my senior year for university. This semester will be my last one for my business major. Honestly, I strained against business classes at the beginning, but I'm really enjoying my courses this year, so that's fun. Next semester will be my first one that's fully dedicated to my fashion major, so right now I'm just stressed out, so much so that I think I compromised my immune system and got some sort of stress-induced mystery sickness. And I don't have a lot of time for art, which is probably why the art block is still persisting, is because I just simply don't have time to sit down and do anything. But I'm working on an exciting project that I hope to share the process of. So stay tuned for that. At the time of this voiceover, in September, literally the day before I'm supposed to release this video, I think I'm still dealing with art block, for sure. Since this video, I've been drawing a little more, but I'm still working through it. I decided against putting my usual finished pieces montage at the end of the video because this really wasn't about the end result, right? I hope you'll join me again in the next episode. Thank you always. Love, Leanne.